I wouldn't worry.
I'm not going to. I'm not even going to look at
Right, okay. What is your name?
it. Sarah. What do I have to say?
Full name, full
Sarah Catherine Jane Hanson.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
52.
And what is it you do?
All sorts of things. I'm not in paid employment though. Is that what you want?
No, I mean...
Okay, so what do?
Yeah.
I facilitate and manage the family.
Buzzwords. Growing up, what did you want to be?
A lawyer.
And why aren't you that now?
Because I didn't do very well in my own levels.
Fair enough. Were you named after someone?
Not particularly, but Sarah in the 60s was a very popular name. There are lots of middle-aged Sarahs around, and there is a Princess Margaret called her daughter Sarah.
Okay, fair enough.
So, there was a regal thing, a bit like now everybody called Charlotte and William and whatever the next one. No, what's the child called? George.
George, yeah. Who are your role models growing up?
That's quite a tricky one. I'm not sure I actually had any role models. I had family imposed role models. So my parents always told me I had to admire people like Ruth First and Jo Slovo, not so much, but Ruth First was a big one, and Nelson Mandela and people like that.
Are they the same now?
Well, Ruth First is dead, as is Nelson Mandela. I mean, they're both pretty
Still
impressive
admirable.
people. So, yes and no, really. I mean, role models, it's difficult because you admire so many different people.
Who are your favourite cultural heroines and why?
Oh, okay, so you said cultural heroines.
So books.
Does that mean
books?
Yeah.
Plays, yeah.
Okay, so Joyce Carol Oates, the writer, writes fantastic books. So does Margaret Atwood. There you are.
Why?
Because they're women who write really well and really good stories about women.
Would you consider yourself a feminist?
Yes.
What do you think it means to be a feminist today?
Well, just everybody should be a feminist. It's a ridiculous sort of, when people say who's feminist, I mean, it's just silly because everybody should be a feminist. I mean, it's about equality. Duh.
What does it mean specifically to you?
Well, it's about being equal, about being regarded equal. I mean, being equal doesn't mean to being the same, but it's about having, choices and generally approaching life and being treated in a more equal fashion.
Have you ever felt discriminated against because of your gender?
I spent the last 8 years living in Dubai. I'm not allowed an alcohol licence. I have to have my husband's permission to have a driving licence. I have to piggyback my visa on my husband, so yes, I do.
That answers my next question. What has been the most important part of being a mother, daughter, aunt, cousin?
Oh, well, that's different. Am I just talking about being a mother there?
You could separate them out.
Okay, I think being a mother, the overwhelming responsibility. That's got to be the thing that nobody tells you about, and then it hits you. Positively and negatively, those things. Being a daughter, I wasn't a very good daughter, I don't think.
Is there a special moment that you can think of that defines those relationships for you?
A special moment that defines those relationships. I remember my mother saying before she died that she would miss me. I'm not going to cry. And I thought, I remember thinking, actually, this is so bizarre. I remember thinking, how can you miss somebody if you're dead? So, I can miss her, but how was she going to miss me? And I think actually we were having a conversation about you and your sister. Because I think she died just as you went off to boarding school. You were at boarding school, and then we were talking about Ruby going.
Yeah, it was summertime.
So it was a miss. Yes, it was a one of those situations that you have. Yes, it was not nice. Yeah.
How would you describe your relationship to other women in and out of the workplace?
Oh, well, I've always thought I'm incredibly. I'm good at supporting other women in the workplace. I've always thought I am. I don't know. You'd have to ask other people, I suppose. I think also that women can be can sometimes not be great at supporting each other. So I have two extreme views on that. Either you are in a really supportive situation, and I have been in the workplace with numerous women, or you can be in a situation where as I have been in as an expat, where you're just excluded.
How do you think women could be more supportive to each other in the workplace?
They need to stop comparing themselves to each other. Not comparing height, because everybody's issues are different, and so stop saying, well, I'm better than you, and my family's better than yours. And
what sort of wisdom did your mother, grandmother, any other matriarchal figure you had in your life, what did they impart on you?
Okay, my mother was, she was pretty good at saying things like, well, if you open that door, you've got to take the consequences of if you go down that road. She tried to make you aware of, not saying that you shouldn't do that, but if you do that, you have to take the consequences. And I always remember her telling me that.
Do you still follow it today?
Well, I try and be reflective on my decisions.
What in your life has brought you the most fulfilment?
Oh, definitely having my family. I know.
Everyone's answer.
Oh, well, no, that's true actually, because I don't think you have any idea what you're doing when you say you want to have a child. And then I will also say that they brought you the most fulfilment, but they also bring you, so it's extremes. I don't know what the opposite of fulfilment is. Despair?
Detachment?
Possibly.
Yeah. Could you tell me a story about that and the fulfilling nature of your family?
My family? Not at the moment. Well, I can honestly say that I probably wouldn't be the person I am today without my children, for good or bad. There are positives and negatives with having children and having a family.
Fair enough.
But I think that they make you see yourself and the wider world in a very different way.
Would you change anything in your past?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Would you mind telling me about it?
I wish I'd retaken all my O-levels. Do I wish I probably wish I'd worked harder, I don't know. There are lots and lots of things that I wish I hadn't done. I can't think, I can't think of anything now, but other than lots.
Can you think of a specific man or woman who has had a major impact on your life?
Ajit Bansal.
No. How?
Well, I married him, reader. So I wasn't looking to get married. I wasn't looking for anything, and then yes, it just happened. And yes, and he's been a major influence, positively and negatively.
How do we know each other?
You're my daughter.
Do you remember the first time we met?
Yes.
Do you mind telling me about it?
Oh, it was a very long night. It was a very long night, and I'd had lots of drugs.
I was going to say lots to drink.
I hadn't had lots to drink. I had lots of drugs, although I had written my birth plan and it was all natural. And you arrived at about 19 minutes past 7 in the morning, I think, having quite an assisted delivery. And they wrapped you up. It was in Thailand, and they do things a certain way. So they'd already wrapped you up in a swaddle, pink swaddle thing, and your face appeared at the top, and it was quite cheeky, cheek-wise, I mean cheeky. And then you stuck your bottom lip out, like this, which is yes, was funny. So I don't know whether you were happy about it. I don't think you were happy about being sort of dragged out, really.
Why do you think you've had an impact on my life?
Because I'm your mother.
Obvious question. Would you give your younger self any advice? What would it be?
Oh, don't ever sell yourself short.
Anything else? Or?
Don't drink too much. Definitely don't drink too much. I think just have more faith in yourself. So it's the same as don't selling yourself short, but just thinking you can do all sorts of things. You just don't know it yet.
Do you have any advice for future generations of women?
Don't sell yourself short. I think lots of women do. They think, oh, well, I'll just do this because it will tide me over, I'll just do this. And they never actually say, well, actually, I can do this. Men don't have that problem. But that's partly because men don't have to do all the things that women have to do. Is that it?
That is it.
There you are then.